think about a task. Maybe you had to go give a speech in front of a bunch of people, and your heart was just pounding, like boom, boom, boom. Yeah. And could you tell your heart, stop? Like, just slow down, down. Come on. Why aren't you slowing down? Yeah. No, because those two processes are not attached at this time. Your stress activation is too high.
Hello everyone. You're probably wondering why I'm speaking in English. But today we have a very good reason for that. Because we have our first international guest in our channel. Menestyvä Mieli, successful mind. Please welcome Professor Judith Andersen.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
Yeah, and I think it was 2015 when I heard first time about you from my colleague and friend Harri Gustafsbergin, and after that I heard a lot of stories about you.
Hope they were good.
All of them are good, so no worries. Okay. And that's why it's also a great honor to finally meet you. Yeah. But there is more than how many thousand people who watch this, and they don't know who you are.
Right.
So first of all, tell a bit about yourself, what you're doing and why you're doing.
Yeah, so I'm an academic, I'm a professor, and I study stress and health and how stress affects your body and performance, actually. And I think I got interested in stress because I was a really stressed out university student. And so I thought, what can I do about it, and can I help other people? And then through graduate school and working afterwards, that I've just been able to develop that research program in more depth.
Okay, sounds very interesting. So what do you think, what situation nowadays? Are people very stressful in your view? Do you think so?
Oh yeah, I mean, we see it even more and more. I see it in my students at school. I hear it from my friends and colleagues, no matter if they work at a desk job or I'm with the police in a critical incident training scenario. Yeah. People are stressed out from, their daily lives and all the technology, all the things they have to answer to, and family and financial stuff and so forth. And so it causes a physiological reaction. It's real. It's not just all in your head.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that's the that's the one point that people they think when we talk about physical activity, people understand what it means. But when we talk about mental performance, mental training, people are a bit confused that what it is. Is it practical or not? Some people think even that it's a bit mystique or and some people it's a bit sensitive. Or hard to understand. So what do you think? Like, okay, first of all, like what could be a first thing what people should put attention if they want to affect to the stress level?
That's a big question, but first I'll take it back to that idea of like people not believing this. I remember one of the reasons that I took the physiological perspective, like I wanted to get more involved in our research project, was because I was working on stress and I was working with military veterans who had post-traumatic stress disorder from the military. And I remember this was in a hospital in the US, and I was talking with one of the doctors who actually worked in that hospital. And he said to me just in passing, like, do you think PTSD is real? Like, it's just this made-up condition? And I thought, you are actually working in a military veterans hospital, and you're talking about, a mental health condition as if it's not real, as if it's not biological. And so, to me, that stimulated. We need to find the underlying mechanism and to be able to show people this is real. Mental is physical. They really are connected, and that the techniques to address them or to be healthier or, train your mind are physical techniques as well. Yeah. So that's kind of the background as to why I started searching for are there physical techniques to deal with mental stress? Because nobody can kind of deny that we have bodies and that our bodies work in a certain way. So, so you're asking me about specific techniques that we could...
like what would be the first thing if people want to affect the stress level?
Well, I think a good a really important point is to start to identify things, right? So start to break down, what is it that you're stressed about? Are you getting home at night and you're just like, I'm overwhelmed, I'm stressed? Okay, that's a really big general thing, right? Exactly. So start to identify what are the things that are stressing you out. What time of day are you feeling stressed? So let's say you go in and you open your email in the morning, you feel refreshed, you've had your sleep, you open your email in the morning and you just, whoa, you know, you just like, have this, and then it's harder to work on the projects that you have to do that morning. So, in identifying something like that, that's a physical feeling. Maybe your heart starts even racing or you just get angry or frustrated. Okay, well, maybe that's a task to do later in the day when you have less energy and you can just, face that or so forth. But if you really need to write a paper or do some task, do it in the morning while you're fresh, and you can identify that. But identifying the things that stress you out or take your energy is step number one.
Okay, very good. And what do you think, there's talking a lot about breathing exercise nowadays, what comes to stress management. What do you think about those?
Yeah, well, it's really important to remember a lot of times when people talk about breathing and mindfulness, they talk about, I already do that. I already breathe. People tell me to relax. I tell my family, just relax, and sometimes they even put their hand up and, do you feel relaxed when I do that? No, actually, that can have the opposite effect. So it's not just that we breathe or say to ourselves, we calm down. Sometimes we actually have to engage in a type of breathing or a way of breathing that's kind of a manual override to our physiology. And so what I mean by that is thinking about stress is a different process than feeling it in your body. Okay, so when somebody says just relax, well, that's a cognitive process, right? And so that's not connected to your heart racing so much. If you think about a task, maybe you had to go give a speech in front of a bunch of people and your heart was just pounding, like boom, boom, boom. And could you tell your heart, stop? Like, just slow down, come on. Why aren't you slowing down? No, because those two processes are not attached at this time. Your stress activation is too high. So one type of breathing technique that you can do to lower your heart rate in the moment, we call this like a one breath reset, and you've probably done something like this in the past, like maybe if people are feeling angry or they're frustrated, their body tries to calm their heart rate down. So I don't know if you've ever noticed somebody, right? They're doing that and they may not know why they're doing it, but taking this deep breath and then a slow exhale, even with some pursed lips or tightening in the core, that really meaningful breath that is actually dropping your heart rate. So if you were wearing a heart rate monitor and I was watching your heart rate, it would actually drop as you're doing that, right? And then, of course, it bounces back, but not to the extreme amount that you were at. So it helps to regulate you and get your activation in a place where you can use your thinking skills again.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? So if you're giving a speech and you want to drop your heart rate just so you have enough activation to go give that speech without, and you can remember all the great things that you learned and that you wanted to tell the audience.
Yeah. Sounds very cool. And nowadays we can even measure about effect to physiology about breathing exercise, right? And so I would say that these are not new things.
Right.
Yeah, we people know this, but what do you think? Why people don't do this?
That's a big question too. Why do people not do easy things? Well,
simple things.
We do have great ways of measuring things, and for example, all these like wearables. So if everybody's interested in Fitbit and all these new things, but still we don't always change our behavior, right? Because we get into habits. We have a lot of activities that we have to do in life, and so a lot of times we kind of act on cruise control, and we're just doing things because we're used to doing it, right?
So could we say that because what I see I've been coaching a lot, especially one-to-one coaching.
Yeah.
What I face many times is that people pointing something environment that he's or she fault or because environment is a problem. But it's true that individual can affect a lot about his or her stress levels, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, you'll never be able to change the environment. You may have some effect by working on yourself and your internal state and the way that you interact with people. That may change their interactions towards you, but you may never change your boss, or the stressful work environment or so forth. But the exciting thing is to know, and the good news is that you can change your internal state in a way that makes it easier to manage those external stressors. So breathing is one of them. Being able to really listen to people instead of getting so caught up in being able to answer correctly or speak over them or say your point. Really listening to what people are saying so that you can get their message and then you can respond to them in a way that's effective. And often when we really listen to people and we respond effectively and we have a controlled physiology, so we're not yelling or giving off this presence of anxiety, we're more effective in getting what we want or negotiating with people or having effective communication and working together.
I really hope that people would get that and start to do things, but I don't know, probably one problem is that nowadays we find a quick fix solution or we don't have enough patience. So that's a really, really big problem with this, because this work pretty much same thing than physical activity. You need repetition and you need long term to see the result. So if you try to do something there, just don't try it once and say that, okay, it doesn't work. So you remember you have to do it longer and you need some repetition for sure.
So on that point, Timo, about why people don't change, they're stressed out, they complain or so forth, but that you have to repeat this practice. Make it easy for yourself. Just break it down into, are you tired of being tired at the end of each day, right? Okay, if so, then just engage in a couple of minutes of identifying what's stressful, outlining what habits that you need to institute in that day and planning for the next day. So break it down. It's not this huge life change that you have to make. So you don't even want to get started, starting a whole nutrition program that's really complex. You might not have the energy to do that, but you can take a couple of minutes at the end of each day or whenever you have a few minutes during the day to kind of start some of these stress reduction practices.
And can we even say that even the problems can feel complex or huge, but basically the solution are many times simple and not the huge one, but like a small. When you do small things, later on it becomes a big thing, like in a positive way.
Yeah, absolutely. I think as humans we tend to exaggerate. I'm feeling bad or I'm feeling tired, without really describing what it is that's giving us this whole emotional negative experience. Instead of just breaking down, like you said, breaking down the situation. Oh, why do I feel tired? Like I'm really hungry and I haven't eaten all day because I was sitting at my desk, and so I can just eat and then I'll feel better and then I'll have more energy to tackle the project that I have to do tonight or tomorrow morning. And so breaking these down into simple tasks can help things feel less overwhelming, less stressful overall.
Very good point. If I'm get right, you are very passionate about what you do and you love your job, right? Congratulations. But
it's taken a while to get there. I wouldn't say it was automatic.
Because the thing is that every time when I talk with the smart people and the experts, and they have something specific subject in what is very interesting right now. Do you have something what's really, really interesting for you right now when we think about mental performance or stress management?
Well, what I've been focused on in the last, I would say 3 years, is really applying these techniques. I mean, we've worked with police officers for a while to apply these techniques in their, in their simulated scenarios and so forth. their life and death. But what we want to take is these same simple techniques to reduce stress and concrete tools, and we want to give them to the public as accessible tools to use.
Yes.
And so of course this works when we're working with police officers in training. Well, we can be there, we're training them in person, we're watching their monitors and we're giving them feedback, and they can immediately tweak their behavior so that they can perform ultimately. But we can't be there at everyone's office with them watching their, monitor and saying, okay, you're not doing this right, to answer your email differently. But so it's really exciting to be able to, we know this works. Yeah. It's been researched, and it works in life and death situations. We're all humans. We have the same human physiology. We know it will work, for office stress but how do we communicate that, and how do we develop that? And so we're currently working on programs and strategies and ways to communicate that to the general public. So that's an exciting thing that we're continuing to develop that.
Do you have answer yet?
I don't have the answer yet completely, but the exciting thing is we've really put together all the material that we've learned. So from the medical physiology, kind of the mechanism behind why it works, to the concrete techniques of how it works, and that it's research-based, to individuals who have gone through and used this in very critical incidents. So a team, we've pulled together that, and we're pulling together actual concrete lessons, and then we're developing the ways to communicate that to the public.
Sounds great. I hope you get even more answers how to do that, because that is actually the same question what I think about a lot of in my job, that how to get people motivated to do things, and how to do those things in practical level.
And I think a really important step here is if you can get people to experience something that feels good and it's effective. So it's a win. It's an early win. And so that's part of what our program is about, like the breathing. Once they learn that, and we all breathe. So if you're alive, you're breathing. But if you're using your breath in a way that's, like I talked about the one breath, and there's also recovery breathing patterns that my colleague can get into. But if you're using your body in that way, it feels good. You feel immediately, like within a few, seconds or minutes, you actually feel better. You have more energy. So you have a win, and people are more likely to continue something where they can be rewarded quickly, and every time they practice, right? And so, and if it's in stressful times or it's in good times, so it works there. So I think giving people a program or techniques that can feel good pretty instantly is another benefit.
I'm totally agree. And the thing with breathing, or let's say that what I've been seeing, the people, they believe them own experience, like most. So that's why that award is very important. But what you think about these people who said that can breathing solve all the problems? Like or this is probably more common, that people ask me that you don't have anything else to give me than breathe. What do you think about this?
First, the very most basic level is getting your physiology in a state in which you can use your brain, that you can transfer your thoughts to be more helpful thoughts. You have a lot of skills actually from your learning in human to human experience to be effective, right? We can listen to people. We have, we can hear what people are saying, but so often our physiology is so high is that we're not actually listening to them. We're just waiting, or we're wanting to be right. So getting physiology correct is the core skill. But of course, you have to layer on to the helpful physiology, the thinking skills, what's helpful and what's not helpful, to recognize that your emotion may come and go. We sometimes have multiple emotions at the same time. And I may not feel good, be feeling great, like the best day ever, but I can still be effective in my communication with you because I'm listening to you. I want this conversation to go in a certain way. And, I just have to believe that my emotions will change. I mean, they're always changing. So they may change at some other time. So
the breathing is the number one thing and the core thing. But there is a lot of other stuff what you can do. But you have to first learn that. Am I get right?
Yeah, it's much more difficult when you're overactivated to do any of these other kind of skills. Not that you can't, not that it's impossible. Some people are very just very highly activated all the time, and they're still, working on reducing stress. But the effects of stress on your body, it has actual tangible effects, right? Exactly. So they're, from getting tired, from not having good sleep, from being stressed out, it takes your energy and it causes a load on the body, and that's a real thing. We can measure that objectively.
Yeah, I like that, because many times I heard that just think positive or don't stress or something like that. But if you are tired or if your physiology doesn't work well, it doesn't matter. How you try to think or affect the emotions. So that would be a very good advice, all of you guys there. Yeah. So I have one more question. Our channel name is Successful Mind. So this is what we every time ask about our quests. So what do you think for you? How to describe successful mind? What do you think what it is?
Yeah, well, I can only speak for myself. For sure. But for me, I've found that moving towards a life in which I can enjoy parts of each day, or it might be a stressful time in life or so forth, but that I'm really maximizing the good parts of life. And so ways for me to do that is for me, physiology is really important, because I can easily get low energy or stressed out or overactivated. So keeping on top of that, and then when I have the energy and I'm not overactivated, I'm really enjoying certain moments of the day. I really appreciate that it's just beautiful summer. I really appreciate this, or that, this food that I'm eating is so delicious. It just tastes amazing. And then I go back to my email, Exactly. But I've had a more fulfilling life because I'm able to take those moments and really just have enjoyable moments in my life.
So you are very aware that where to put attention.
And I know, I work better in the morning, and I'm more activated in the morning, or successful at doing certain work, writing papers, responding to things. So I know that to be very successful, I maximize the time of day in where I can be the most successful, and then put other tasks into time of day that I'm not very
exactly. And I also like that idea that when I ask you that what is successful mind, actually what you first answer was physiology. That can be even confusing in positive way to the people there, that actually when we talk about successful mind, first thing where put attention is the physiology. So
I think, and for me, my whole life, I've struggled with stress and that feeling of stress, and your stomach and your heart's racing. I'm tired of that. I want to feel good in my body. And that's aside from even physical activity or nutrition. I want to feel better, and these internal monitoring techniques allow you to do that. So you can really appreciate the better things in life that come along.
Exactly. And easily people think that if we talk about successful mind, you have to put attention to your mind, but probably it's good advice for you guys that first physiology and then mind.
It's really mind body. It really is. It really is mind body.
So I'm definitely sure that there is a people who want to know that how they can follow you or stuff like that. So where they can find you or what you do. You have some addresses.
So I work at the University of Toronto, and my website is heartlab.net. And so we post our articles, our research and information. It's probably the best way. I'm not a huge social media person. So I think I'm on LinkedIn, but other than that, you go to the website and we'll keep posting information about our program.
Exactly. All right. This was a great honor. Thank you, Judith, so much. To being here, and thanks all of you people there, and Is there anything what you want to say?
No, thank you. Thanks for inviting me. And I just appreciate knowing that there's other people out there that want to live more fulfilled and better lives and that we're doing this together. So thanks so much for inviting me.
Good final words. Yeah. Thank you so much and see you in the next episode. Bye-bye.